Hello, good afternoon. Selamat petang semua.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, can you hear my voice clearly?
Boleh.
Okay.
Can, Doctor, can.
Thank you.
Literally can.
All right, thanks. Okay, I'm going to start soon. But I had, as I WhatsApp you earlier, I had a bit of problem with my internet in this particular room that I'm now in. Okay, hopefully there's no more interruption after this. Okay. How are you guys doing?
Good, Doctor.
Ya, sehat saja.
Iya, punya lecture untuk
Dok.
khusus lain sudah habis kah?
Belum, Dokter.
Belum, ah? Okay. All right. Today is probably your last day of lecture with me. That's the reason for that is because we had covered a few topics earlier on, much faster than what I had planned earlier. So we have come to the topic number 14, which is on apa namanya, on digital. Yeah, much to do with digital economy and also digital age and development lah. Yeah, so this will be the last topic for this semester, and perhaps for most of you, if not all of you, your last class for your degree program. Am I right? Or you're not sure? Okay, let me share.
Not sure, Doctor.
Not sure. Okay. I hope everybody will get through.
Thank you, Prof.
This semester. Yeah. Okay, let me set this right. Yeah. Okay, can you see this QR code attendance? Okay. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Okay, I think we can start now. Okay, let me see if I can share with you my screen. Nampak screen ni kan?
Nampak.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so that's the topic for today. I hope I can last for 2 hours. Just to inform you that I had my vaccination shot yesterday, COVID-19 vaccine. So far, so good, yeah, to me. I have no side effect from the vaccine. And I think all the UNIMA staff are having their vaccination yesterday and also today on campus at the Dewan apa namanya, Dewan Putra. Right? But I was having my vaccination somewhere else. I was at the Stadium Negeri. Somehow I was asked to go there. Right, so it's okay. I hope you guys will get your vaccination soon as well. Yeah. Okay. Okay, seems to be a lot of noise from there. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so the topic is on economic development in the digital age. Yeah, today basically the topic deals with how development, if development can occur during this age, yeah, the age of the what is known as the digital age. So how different is it from the previous era, for example, right? So let's go through some of the basic hold on there. The role of digital technologies in development in particular. Yeah. Okay, so I think everybody knows about this, the fact that the digital technology or technologies rather have spread rapidly throughout the world. Yeah, much of the world, not not every country, unfortunately, right? But at the same time, we also experience what is known as the digital dividends ataupun keuntungan, ya, ataupun kebaikan from digital, ya. In other words, the broader development benefits from using these digital technologies. Unfortunately have lag behind, ya. Jadi ada kekurangan sedikit, ya, disebabkan oleh apa nama ni a few problems, ya. So but overall in most instances or in most cases, digital technologies have helped the country to boost its economic growth, yeah, and also help to expand opportunities in employment, in industries, and so on. And also it has helped to improve the service delivery as well. Yeah? You guys have the experience, yeah, of using digital technology, your handphone, your laptop, and so on and so forth, with this habit of internet and so on. You have the benefit of having using the technology, yeah, at least in your case, to help you with your lessons, with your studies. But at the same time, many also have benefited from the technology to get knowledge from the internet and so on, right? Now, even though it has more or less, or the technologies have benefited countries in many areas, yeah, but the aggregate impact has fallen short. In other words, the overall impact has not reached every country of the world, and definitely very uneven in its distribution. Yeah, some regions or some countries have more access to internet. Some countries are still lacking, for example. So so that's the situations at the moment. Yeah. So for digital technologies to benefit everyone, yeah, to benefit everyone, every country, everywhere, it requires the closing of the remaining digital divide. Yeah, the digital divide here refers to the difference, yeah, the differences between countries in terms of the availability and the use of technology. Yeah, especially with respect to the internet access. Okay, so Malaysia, we are as in general, yeah, we have the opportunities to enjoy the benefits of digital technology. But having said that, within the country too, there are some regions are lagging behind. Some do not have access to internet facilities, yeah, particularly the rural areas. So again, when we talk about this technology in terms of its benefits to the whole country, I think you have to bear in mind that there are certain areas which are not yet benefiting the most from the technology. Right. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so the adoption of digital technology helps a lot, yeah. But just by adoption of the digital technology alone is not enough. It's not enough. So to get the most out of the digital technology or revolution, countries also need to work on the analog complements. So what do we mean by analog complements? Not the digital. The analog complements here refers to the other components, the governance, the other things that support. Yeah. For example, by strengthening regulations, yeah, that will ensure competition among businesses as well. That's one of those things that need to be there as well. Also, by adapting workers, yeah, workers need to reskill, need to be reskilled, need to adapt as well, yeah, to the demands of the new economy, and also by ensuring the institutions are equally accountable as well. So these things need to be there, need to be present as well. Yeah, so not just the adoption of the technology alone. Yeah. Okay. So the digital revolution, in other words, needs offline help, yeah, to realize its full potential. Right. Okay. So, for example, as we are speaking now, the technology of digital technologies are spreading across the world, but only roughly about 4 billion people, yeah, or slightly less than that, still do not have access to the internet, right? So probably about half of the world population, yeah. And a new report with regard to this use of technology, yeah, says that closing the digital divide, in other words, reducing the differences in terms of the technology should be a global priority. Yeah, should become a global priority, so as to generate economic growth, so as to provide or create more opportunities in terms of jobs and also improving services as well, right? So countries are more likely to benefit or reap digital dividends ataupun benefit tadi ya, if they pay as much attention to the offline factors as the technological one. So we need to have improvement in the other factors which are called offline factors here. Yeah. Okay, and this is from a document from the World Bank report. Yeah, regarding the how the internet promotes development, and it helps to promote development in the world, regardless, and particularly countries who have access to the internet. One is through the process of inclusion. In other words, inclusion here is that everybody will have access. Yeah, will have access. So, nobody is going to be excluded. Yeah. And also the internet helps to promote development through more efficiency, yeah, or high efficiency. And the third one is through innovation. So these are the three areas. I think there's a slight some noise from some sources. If you can just mute yourself if you're not talking, right, that would be good for me. Right. So inclusion, efficiency, and innovation. So let me just click this one. I don't know if you can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So let's see if I can get it working. I'm not sure. Can you see this article from the World Development Report 2016? Boleh nampak ke?
Can, Prof.
Okay, this is the article that I'm talking about. Yeah, the report from the World Bank, World Development Report. You can read this later on at your own time, right? But especially talking about the use of technology or digital technologies, yeah, okay, ataupun ICTs and all that. So it's not a big article, it's just a few pages, yeah, but I find it very useful. Yeah. Okay, so what it does is, okay, so just highlight a few things, yeah, with respect to this one. Sorry about that. Oops. Hilang pula. Yeah, I lost it. Okay. Are you still with me? Can you still see this?
Can, Prof.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Doctor.
So I just want to highlight a few things. Okay. So how it does that? The internet helps to promote inclusion, efficiency, and also innovation. Right. So this is how it is. If you look at this graph here, this is the graph representing how the internet promotes development. Yeah. So see on this side is the cost of transactions, for apa namanya, for jual beli lah, for example, right? Or buying and selling of goods and so on. Yeah. And then on this axis is on the transactions, which are arranged from high to low cost lah. Right. So previously, before we have the internet, or rather the pre-internet era, the transaction cost is quite high, yeah, actually compared to the post-internet period, yeah. This curve here is the post-internet period, where you could see that first of all, this is the inclusion that we're talking about. So everybody are included, right? If and only when you have access to the internet, of course, yeah. So it's just a matter of having the infrastructure, the apa nama tu, internet facilities, and it helps, and then it helps in terms of efficiency as well, yeah, efficiency in terms of the transactions, in terms of the goods and so on, yeah. So the upper curve shows the cost before the introduction of the internet, yeah. So with the internet, many SaaS costs drop, and three things can happen, yeah. So on the left, there are some fractions, yeah, this on the left side, yeah. There are some transactions for which the cost was so high in the pre-era area, yeah, so high over here, and then there was essentially no market, yeah, no market. So the transaction did not take place over here, yeah. So making the transaction possible promotes inclusion as well as market expansions, yeah. And then these are examples. For example, women with small children or persons with disabilities will have sometimes been unable, tak boleh, to engage in work outside the home. Okay, but now they can do that. They can engage in telework. Yeah, many poor or disadvantaged population will now receive public services because government can use digital IDs, yeah, to verify their eligibility, for example, right? So probably you guys should be familiar with such thing being in the social work, yeah. And skilled workers and small firms in poor countries can trade their services also in global markets where they can earn higher returns. So yeah. And also, if we look at in the middle of the figure, the internet lowers the cost of existing transaction. That's very, very important, yeah. Lowering the cost of transactions. In other words, those occurring before, even before the event of the internet as well. So it makes the purchasing of goods and all that much easier and also less costly. All right. So for the internet users, I'm sorry, for the things to happen actually, as far as trade ataupun purchase of goods and so on, and all that to happen, there, of course, you know that there are three important elements that you have here, and in the transaction. Number one, you need a platform. Yeah, you need a platform. For example, you need Google, Facebook, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So what does it do actually? So platforms ini akan menghubungi apa nama, boleh digunakan oleh users and also digunakan oleh vendors yang menjual barang, ya, produk. Right. So if you look the relationship between platform and vendors, for example, the user and the customer profile and advertising space are provided by the platform. So anytime you use the internet, your information or some part of your information will be shared, and that's why if you use your handphone, the moment you type something in there, yeah, you have your record. You have your record, automatic filling in form and so on. That is possible because of the platform who stored your information, yeah, something about you, for example, and that is being used to more or less to share with the vendors, right? So vendors have to pay the platform in a way. Yeah, you have to pay for the information with regard to the users and customers profile. Okay, so that's how the vendors are able to reach you, yeah, and send you advertisements and so on, yeah, to promote your product. And then, okay, so that is between the apa namanya platform ini, yeah, dengan vendors. And then on the other side, yeah, between the users and the platform, okay. So what it does is this platform provide more or less free services, yeah, for you to search the products or whatever, and for you to send email and cloud sourcing and so on and so forth, yeah, free. But at the same time, when you use that, you provide data, personal preferences to the platform, and this is the one that is provided to the vendors here, right? So it makes things easy between the vendors and the users in the end, yeah. So users will be able to buy goods, but also through the information provided by the vendors, yeah, the goods and services provided by the vendors. So, for example, you buy goods, yeah, you purchase online and so on, yeah, through to the individual vendors, tapi melalui platform ini, ya. And okay, so Lazada lah ataupun what else do you have that you normally use? Ya, sekarang nih macam-macam kan? Yes. So many now, ya, Shopee, Lazada, and so on and so forth. Yeah? Even you can buy direct from the company, for example, right? So the transaction is between vendor dengan users, but using the platform. So you don't have to go out from your house to get the product or to purchase the product. So you pay for it, yeah, through online, and then you get the goods delivered to your door or to your home, right? So that's the beauty of it, yeah, of having internet. So much of this is happening, or rather are happening throughout the world, yeah, every second. The transactions are happening, yeah, throughout the world, yeah. So that is the new thing nowadays, yeah. Kalau dulu perlu you have to order the goods, yeah, send the whatever lah, purchasing order dan sebagainya, which may take days to months sometimes, depending on the distance on, and then you have to wait for the product, of course lah. Tapi yang for the product to arrive, of course, yeah, to be delivered to your home, tapi ataupun to your office. Tapi what is still important is physically the goods will or the services will need to be delivered lah, yeah. For example, physically, yeah. Contractor datang to fix your whatever service that you requested, ataupun the goods that you ordered will have to be transported, yeah, by plane ke apa ke, and delivered to your door. Jadi throughout the process, yeah, there are a lot of creation of new job opportunities. Yeah, for example, those who provide services in terms of transportation, in contoh Grab, ya, Grab, Uber dan sebagainya, ya. So all you have to do just use your handphone, order transport ataupun Grab car, and then you just go from one place to another, ya. Tak payah nak lambai-lambai taksi dekat tepi jalan kan. Right, so that's how easy it is. Okay, so the platform, then you have the vendors, and then you have the users. Right? So all these components. All right, so that's more or less giving us a picture of the current situations, yeah, in terms of the role of digital technologies. Yeah? Now, One of the things regarding the use of technology or digital technology is how that will impact future workforce, future workforce. So how digital technology will affect employment is really uncertain, but there are some reports with regard to some of the impact and also potential impacts of the technology on employment. So reskilling, in other words, workers will have to reskill themselves, particularly with the use of in terms of knowledge, how to use the technology, for example, so that they will be relevant. Otherwise, if you don't reskill yourself, then you will not be relevant, and you probably have some difficulties, to gain employment in certain sector of the economy. Okay, so it has been reported that digital revolution creates employment, right? So the digital revolution has created new roles, such as search engine automation managers, okay, social media account managers dan sebagainya. Ini peranan-peranan yang baru, ya. And also not only roles, but also new types of organizations. For example, cloud computing providers, social media agencies, and so on. And also, therefore, new sectors of the economy as well. As a result of the digital revolution. Okay, so for example, digital security and also data science. So it is not just direct employment in the digital sectors that is important, but also the impact of it. The impact of the digitalization has also acted as a catalyst for employment growth in the wider economy. In other words, there are people who are employed directly in the industry, digital sectors, but at the same time, through the digitalization also, there are new forms of employment as well, which may not be directly related to digitalization ataupun technology. So it does create employment, but different form of employment as compared to earlier on. Okay, so in India, this is just an example. This is based on some reports. For example, in India, it is estimated that 3 to 4 jobs are created for every job within the business process, outsourcing and IT-enabled service sectors. So in other words, for each one job created in the digital industry, in the related to digitalization, outsourcing ke apakah IT dan sebagainya. There are 3 to 4 jobs. In other words, a factor of 3 to 4 jobs, which are created, for every one of those jobs that you have in the IT ataupun technology tadi, IT technology tadi. So overall, studies have shown that investment in information and communication technology infrastructures, for example, creates about 1.4 to 3.6 indirect and induced jobs, ataupun pekerjaan ataupun employment that are created as a result, for every direct job created. Okay, so direct jobs are those jobs which are related to the IT ataupun digital technology, and for each one of these jobs created, it also induce ataupun menyebabkan ataupun melahirkan 1.4 hingga 3.6 indirect employment creation. Yeah? So this is based on the World Bank ICT 2012 report. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's the situation. So it is, while people have claimed that IT or technology may replace employment, but actually looking at closely the IT itself, or the technology itself, helps to create other employment as well. So the question then is, does technology create or destroy jobs? Does it create ataupun destroy jobs? Ya, ataupun mananya adakah teknologi itu akan menyebabkan kekurangan dalam pekerjaan, ataupun adakah ianya menyebabkan peningkatan ya dalam peluang-peluang pekerjaan? That is the issue. Yeah. Some publications, actually, recent as in 5 years ago, for example. Yeah. For example, the rise of the robots. Yeah. This is on technology and the threat of a jobless future. And also another publications on humans need not apply. That's another publication with regard to question with regard to the guide to work and well in age of artificial intelligence. And all these publications have painted a grim picture of the future. In other words, it doesn't give a good picture of the future as far as employment is concerned. Right? Okay. The MIT ataupun Massachusetts Institute of Technology economists by the name of Eric Brynjolfsson, as well as Andrew McAfee, they provocatively ask if humans go the way of horses. Maksudnya, kalau pada satu ketika dulu kuda ataupun horses ini adalah merupakan satu ataupun merupakan very important, yeah, as far as transportation is concerned. Yeah, remember when the cars were not available yet in the past, ini di negara orang putih lah, kita sini tak ada lah. But so horses were the means of transportation during those days. Tapi sekarang ini you hardly see any of this except in horse racing, right? So the question here is, are we humans going to be the same as the horses, that one day that we may not even be required ataupun we become irrelevant? That's what the question raised by Brynjolfsson and McAfee. Yeah? So it is time, according to them, that we start discussing what kind of society we should construct, and and around a labor light economy. Yeah, labor light economy. In other words, apa namanya, peburuhan ataupun labor adalah semakin berkurangan. Yeah, right. So, or in other words, an economy in which there simply are no longer enough jobs to go around. It has been replaced by technology or something, right? So that is very, very relevant questions, yeah? Very relevant issue that they were discussing. Okay? Okay, so this is an example. This is the net job. Yeah, man, I had problem with this. Yeah, it's way up there. Sorry, just to show you, to make sure that, okay, that's the one. Eh? So projected net creation from digital initiative in the logistic industry. So Yang nak ditunjukkan di sini adalah first of all, right? First of all is the type of jobs, yeah, as a result. Okay, this line here indicate the number of net jobs created or lost. Okay, there are two. If you look at this side here on the y-axis here, this is negative. Yeah, below 0 is negative, above 0 is positive. All right, so we can see from here, but there are some negatives, yeah, and there are some positive. All right, and the blue color is in terms of job creation. Okay, so for much of this, yeah, for example, the logistic control, analytics as a service, autonomous trucks, and so on, all these are negative, falling below 0, yeah, but less than 10% lah, drop, yeah. And then you have the drones, for example, the drones, IT, teknologi, ya, digital teknologi menggunakan drone sebagainya. Ianya, in other words, it help also in terms of a little bit in terms of job creation as well, but at the same time there is a job reduction as well, ya. Tapi crowdsourcing, in terms of crowdsourcing, there are more job creation now compared to job reduction. Yeah, so it's lebih tinggi, yeah, in terms of the graph on the positive side. Yeah, and then in other areas, for example, shared transport capacity bawah kosong, and then shared warehouse capacity yang di sini juga banyak, ya, di bawah kosong. In other words, you don't really need a shared warehouse capacity because the order is direct from the supplier, from the factory, or from the owner, for example. So you don't need to. I mean, you don't need to have a storage, right? As a result of the digital economy, right? But there is this increase. This is the one that is very important as far as the cross-border trade platforms semakin meningkat, more than 100% increase in terms of the trade platform ataupun cross-border ataupun crossing border lah, in other words. Yeah, in other words, yeah, you can cross border without even physically crossing border in a way, right? So so the net jobs creation or created is mostly for the cross-border trade platform and also crowdsourcing as well. So that's the more or less, yeah, more or less what this graph tells you, yeah, about the jobs created as a percentage of the total jobs created because of digital initiative. So quite interesting statistics that we have in here, right? A loss in certain areas, but again in certain sectors as well. Okay. All right, there are a lot of challenges, nevertheless, as far as the digital technology and the use of internet services and so on. Yeah. So digital technologies fundamentally transform organizations at a very fast rate, but at the same time, it also faces a lot of challenges as well. Yeah. So organization must have a coherent strategy that includes plan to reskill workers. In other words, you need to train, yeah. Workers need to be retrained or reskilled in order to become relevant, ataupun otherwise they will not be, they will lose their jobs and employment and so on. Okay, so reskilling of workers is needed by organizations. I remember when computer or desktop computer was first introduced in organizations during my time. I was just started working when the computer was introduced, yeah, in the workplace, in the office, and we had to share one computer. 4 or 5 of us lecturers were sharing one computer and one printer, so we have to wait for our turn, yeah, to use that. There was no internet during the time. It's just a computer without internet facilities. And then after that, a few years after that, then came the internet revolution. So I was already in US doing my PhD, and a friend of mine who came from USM, he also joined me at the same university, and he was talking about emails. And I said, what the hell is he talking about? I don't even know what email was then about. Yeah, I have no idea. Soon when I came back from my PhD, and I came back to work at UPM, and there we were, instead of us having to share one computer, and now we have one laptop each, yeah, for us to use. And also we were provided with internet services as well. So if you don't learn all the skill, you will become irrelevant. And I remember one of our older colleagues who had some difficulty with computer. So he had sometimes he had to ask us, the younger ones, then to help him with the notes and all that, yeah, because he couldn't do it. That's talking about reskilling, yeah, of workers. Okay, so most of us, the older lecturers and professors, compared to the new ones, were not so good with the computer and so on. But we learn, yeah, we had to learn. Otherwise, we become irrelevant. Yeah. All right. So, whereas previous technological revolutions, most notably the Industrial Revolution, for example, played out over a relatively long period of time, jadi mengambil masa yang panjang, tetapi the speed of digital transformation is such that businesses need to move quickly. Jadi perlu mengambil peluang, ya, otherwise you'll be left behind. So businesses will have to quickly transform, yeah, digitally as well. So most government also, for governments, the department and so on, yeah, the challenge is equally pressing as well. Yeah, the potential inequality and also wage deflation or even social unrest requires urgent action to prepare the workforce for the digital future. That's what I was saying. The department, the government department, unfortunately, they adopted the digital technology much later. It's the universities which and some businesses, yeah, which adopted the technology first, yeah, compared to the government department, the general government department, yeah. Okay, so there is the issue, as I mentioned earlier on, of digital divide. Right? There are some patchy digital scaling strategies. Yeah, for example, there is a mismatch between supply and demand for digital skills, and this has been more or less widely acknowledged. Yeah, in other words, the supply of people who have the skill or manpower, so to say, yeah, who have the skills, and also the demand for the digital skills do not match. Yeah, there's some kind of lagging a little bit in terms of the number of people who can fill in the positions. Yeah. Globally, according to Cisco in 2015, it has identified about more or less about 1 million unfilled digital security roles ataupun peranan, ya, these jobs, in other words, the jobs in terms of digital security, which are still, at least in 2015, his estimate about 1 million of those roles were unfulfilled, tidak diisi jawatan tersebut. So the failure of our plus also, in our case in Malaysia, the failure of education systems also to meet the demand for digital skill is illustrated by the shortfall of graduates, shortfall in graduates of science, technology, and engineering, mathematics, ataupun in short from STEM, subject in certain countries, including Malaysia. We have that problem as well. If you look at our schools, students who are enrolled in this STEM courses or programs are much less compared to the other courses or areas. So that is the one of the potential problem actually. So having recognized the challenge, a number of governments around the world have launched their own digital skill flagship initiative. So beberapa negara telah mengambil tindakan atau inisiatif masing-masing untuk mengatasi masalah tersebut, masalah kekurangan people who have the right digital skills. And in fact, at one point, in the early 2000, for example, people were talking about IT and so on. It was so famous, so popular during that time that we have institutions atau private institutions which are ditubuhkan just to run program in IT during that time, right? So kalau tak ada IT knowledge, you become relevant. So IT was the in thing during that time, early 2000. So I still remember that. Then universities also, come out with their faculties, institute and faculties, for example, of IT, information technology, computer science dan sebagainya. Okay, tapi sekarang ini it seems to be that most people, children, school children and so on, they already know about IT or computer and so on. So it becomes less relevant. Some of these private colleges even have closed down, because the demand for that kind of knowledge sudah berkurangan sekarang ini, right? So that was a thing, the response from the government during this time, and also the private sector in terms of providing education for dalam bidang digital technology dan sebagainya. Okay, very importantly, of course, is people are talking about digital economy, right? Even Malaysia, like many of the developing countries, also joined the call for digital economy, right? Sarawak, in the last few years, also have started having its own initiative, to make sure that Sarawak is also enjoying the benefits of digital economy as well, right? So these are some of the things that I collect, regarding digital economy, how the digital landscape has changed over the years, since the introduction of the digital technology and the internet. Okay, so examples of digital economies. This is based on the Manchester Business School model, business models. For example, back in 1960s, um, in the developed countries, US, also UK, and European countries, they have the mainframe computer. I don't know if you can imagine how big is the mainframe computer. It's probably the size of your apa nama tu almari ataupun your where you put your clothes and so on. That's how big the mainframe computer is. Yeah, jadi dia besar tinggi, right? And I happen to be I was at UPM doing my bachelor way back in the 1980, 1981, was I was doing my final year project. And after collecting my data, my lecturer or my supervisor suggested to me that I should do the analysis using computer program, right? So UPM that time do not even have one. Yeah, I'm talking about UPM in Serdang, Selangor. Right? Do not even have a mainframe computer. The only university having one is University Malaya. Yeah, but that was not in the 1960s. That was in 1980s in Malaysia. Yeah, so we came a little bit later. So we have to process our data, bukan sekarang ni type terus ke dalam komputer. No, we have to use a card. Yeah, you punch the card and so on. So each hole in the card represents certain symbol, yeah, certain values and so on, and that has to be fed into the mainframe computer using certain program like SPSS, and then run. And then sometimes you get it wrong, you have to retype the card again and check which card is incorrect, and then you have to pull it out and redo the thing. So it may take a few times before you get the correct. Everything is in order. That's the mainframe that I'm talking about. You don't see any of this anymore, right? It's a very big, like a fridge. Size-nya macam refrigerator yang besar. Okay, then in 1980s, 1990s, you have the PCs, yeah, personal computers, desktop, yeah, and then you have, and then in the 1990s came the internet revolution, right? And of course the 2000s you have the mobile, ya, telepon dan sebagainya. Main apa nama tu handphone yang boleh digunakan, ya, macam menggunakan komputer lah, right? Then mobile phone, and then of course after that you either have because the apa nama the improvement in the technology, in the handphone, ya, smartphone dan sebagainya, right? Now that you don't really need, you can either bring your laptop ataupun iPad, ataupun tinggalkan dua-dua itu, just pakai your smartphone, because everything is in your hand sekarang ni kan, menggunakan your smartphone, ya, untuk melakukan even typing and all that, sending email and so on and so forth, yeah, which was not even possible during the 1990s, yeah, or before that. Okay, so 1960s and 1980s, we have the back office and industrial process control, and then 1990s more or less you have the front office and then new services provided using internet, and then also, and then after that in the 2000s and above, you have the web, you have the other kind of services and so on. So these are the things that has happened over the years, yeah, with the creation of e-businesses and so on, yeah, right? So that's what is happening, yeah. IT industries or high tech, large organization into digital, into and then it combines almost office and business together and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's how the digital economies, yeah, industry, end users, yeah, and so on. Yeah, using with the adoption and usage of digital technology that we have now. Itu apa yang berlaku sekarang ini lah. Ya. Okay. So just to briefly look at this, yeah, in terms of the importance of digital economy to the government or to the countries, yeah. Countries now acknowledge the significance of digital economy to boost competitiveness, yeah, to be competitive, yeah, and also promote economic growth as well as social well-being. Yeah, for example, 27 out of 34 countries have a national digital strategy, and they are overarching and also cross-sectorial as well. So the digital economy goes beyond ICT industry. It's not just ICT. Yeah, it is talking about the demand side from the consumer and the use of that. Yeah, untuk menggunakan digital technology. Yeah, bagi menentukan ya apa yang diperlukan dan sebagainya kan. So government needs to and are working multiple policies as well. So studies have shown that countries which has adopted this digital economy nowadays has benefited a lot in terms of development. I think the leading country now, I think as far as digital economy is concerned, China is probably the top of the world, more or less, in terms of digital economy. Yeah, Alibaba, if you remember, yeah, the man, I can't remember the name of the person, yeah, but Alibaba is a platform which was created, yeah, much earlier than Lazada and also Shopee. Yeah, and if you order any goods now through the internet, about 90% or more of the products are from China. Yeah, through yeah, online buying and selling. And also the world export of manufactured ICTs goods grew by 6% per year, and ICT services also grew by 30% per year. So it has contributed a lot. Yeah. So out of total business enterprise research development, the ICT sector accounted for 33%. So growth in the ICT industry. So patent applications in ICT also accounted for almost 40% of applications, yeah, almost in line with the 2000 2002. This is an old figure, by the way, yeah. And yeah. Hold on sekejap ya. Okay, sorry about that just now. So we continue. This is another graph showing the employment of ICT specialists across the economy, as a share, compared to, as a share of the total employment by category. And this is in Europe, by the way, so you can see from here, while employment in the ICT sector remains stable, but employment across all sectors of the economy is going up, and reach as much as 3% of the total employment in the OECD countries. These are all OECD countries. So you can see that there is growth as well, in the employment across all sectors as a result of the employment in the ICT or development in ICT as well. Okay, so the communication industry continues to converge. In other words, what it means is that the industry, is being impacted by convergence and consolidation. In other words, some companies are merging together, and consolidate, to be more efficient, right? So services, for example, including TV and video, are now carried out over IP networks. I don't know if you're aware of this, Unify, for example, now also provided TV and video services as well, Astro and so on and so forth, so there is actually the boundaries between traditional telecom and castings and becoming less becomes more blur, in between the two. So as a result, a number of countries have introduced legislation or law to prohibit blocking and discrimination of services or net neutrality lah. Jadi keperluan itu sebagai satu rights, rights of every man and women, right, or human being, to have access to that, to communication, to information and so on and so forth. So companies are going online, and that's what we've seen now. Yes, almost all businesses rely on ICTs. By 2014, and 95% of enterprises had broadband, up from 86% in 2010. And more than 3/4 of businesses had a web presence. A large majority were interacting with public authorities online, macam-macam, So cloud computing also has accelerated, with 22% of companies were using the services as well. So that's how it is, So it has sorry, although in terms of the usage itu berbeza lah di antara negara, as you can see from this graph here. Finland use more than 50%, of the enterprises in Finland uses cloud computing, for example, compared to Poland and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's the thing, at the moment. And also with regard to individuals as well, individual internet use also continues to differ by age as well as education. And this is based on studies lah, yang di mana 81% of adults in OECD countries, in European countries, area use internet facilities, compared to 95% of 24 years old. Right? Jadi even adults are now using that. And however, less than 49% of those over 65 use it. Yeah, I guess for some reason they don't really need that. Either they don't really need it ataupun mungkin some are not as good as the younger ones lah, in terms of the usage. So there is a gap, gap between the in terms of internet use between age group, in other words, between the old and the young. So, okay, so it's very widely used among the younger generations, and as you get older, in the group, becomes less and less in terms of the usage. Okay, and other things with regard to some statistics. Individual shopping online has increased from 31% in 2007 to 50% in 2014. So it has increased. The use of online internet untuk shopping. Contohnya menggunakan Shopee, Lazada dan sebagainya. So the breadth of internet activities carried out by users with tertiary education was on average about 58%, larger than those with less education. So in other words, the more educated you are, for example, university students or those who have tertiary education, are likely to use internet or using internet activities carried out by them. So at the same time, e-government, kita pun dah ada e-government in Malaysia, varies widely across countries, and Malaysia is one of the countries now which has been using e-government as well, to get services and also to collect payments, including income tax dan sebagainya. Right, so so there is because of this, so the need for human labor, employee, for example, has been reduced as well, among government departments. Okay, the use of mobile and data are driving new business models. Smartphone has now become very, very important. So the rise of online and mobile banking is changing the market boundaries, and the introduction of what is known as the sharing economy. All right, while these models enable collective consumption, they are challenging existing regulatory framework. So there is a need to look into the regulations as well, with the use of this use of data, for example. So crowdsourcing increasingly are being used to develop ideas as well as products, including using social media to get feedback and also to raise capital, as well. So so talking about mobile and data ataupun handphone, a smartphone. There is this talk ataupun a lecture by an Indonesian visiting professor at the University of Singapore, which I'll share with you later on. From their study, they found out that among the younger groups and the younger generation, the use of a smartphone is more extensive, much more common compared to the use of PC ataupun laptops and so on, for internet services. Okay, so in terms of digital economy, trust is very important. It is critical. Users are increasingly concerned. For example, 64% of respondents from the survey are concerned about their privacy. That's quite true. Just anytime you use a computer ataupun source internet, you are actually exposing yourself. You contribute your personal data. And security and privacy are top priorities for government. Yeah. Talking about security and privacy, just recently the U.S. government ataupun companies and also government in U.S. they are very concerned about this. Just recently, there were cyber attack on the gas pipeline in US. Gas itu maksudnya minyak kereta lah, ya, bukan gas untuk masak. Sorry. So it happened in US recently, and the cyber attack was supposedly from a group in Russia actually. Yeah. So it caused a lot of problems, shortage of supply of gasoline to the gas station dan sebagainya, right? And also driving a new generation of cyber strategies, and also the need for privacy and security professionals. So you need a lot of this, yeah. Privacy as well as security professionals are needed. So the increasing need for national strategic approaches to privacy, incorporating a whole of society perspective with this flexibility to capitalize on technological development. Yeah, increasing need for that. Yeah. So those are the future more or less trends in terms of the needs in terms of employment, yeah, related to digital technology, yeah, with regard to digital economy, for example. Now people are talking about things, Internet of Things, which I am still struggling with, yeah. So Internet of Things. Ini selain daripada to make a call, to make email, shopping dan sebagainya, sekarang ini people are talking about Internet of Things, yeah, which relies upon connectivity between devices and sensors dan sebagainya. Contoh penggunaan dalam kereta dan sebagainya. So the number of connected devices, ya, contohnya di OECD countries is estimated to be about 14 times larger by the year 2022. Right? Wireless networks are essential. Bluetooth dan sebagainya sekarang ini kan. So this is the thing. So the studies in OECD countries also shows that there are differences in terms of the use of this technology. Yeah, higher in Sweden, Norway, and less in countries like Austria, Portugal, and so on. Right? Okay, where are we now? So Internet of Things, what's the potential for that? Yeah, IoT atau Internet of Things will bring benefits across the economy by allowing for innovative approaches in dealing with ongoing challenges. For example, improve energy efficiency, yeah, with the use of IoT, Internet of Things. It also helps to facilitate development of new technological applications, yeah, like, for example, autonomous machines, and also a risk-based approach to security and privacy in this space will be very important or instrumental. Right? So that's a progress. So anyway, so what I've been saying is more or less, or we have seen so far, is the importance of IT, the importance of digital technology for future development, and it has happened. It is happening now. Right, so those, so it's almost certain that if you don't adopt this technology, you are likely to be left behind. I'm talking about countries, yeah. So like it or not, we have to, yeah. So But in order to benefit all human beings throughout the world, there is a need to close the digital divide so that everybody, when we talk about inclusiveness, everybody will have the capability, yeah, will have the potential to use, to have access to that as well. Okay, so before we end, I would like to share with you this one. I hope this is just a portion of what I have uploaded on ELIP, yeah, the full lecture by Professor Mari, what is his full name? I forgot, from Indonesia, who is now a visiting professor at University of Singapore. So let me share with you this YouTube. Kejap, Yep, yeah. I have a very slow computer. Yeah, I have an old laptop with me. And I hope hopefully the internet is okay too. Yeah. By the way, can you see this screen here?
Belum, Prof.
No, Dokter.
Belum, Mas. Kejap.
Belum, ya.
Kejap. Okay, let me set it again. I stop share that one.